All right, welcome to consenting for devilWASTE. At this point, you should have already consented the participant for devilSpark, and now you offer them the opportunity to participate in devilWASTE. Make sure that they know that it is completely optional to participate in devilWASTE, but that you must be part of devilSpark in order to participate. At the bottom of the consenting form on the back side, you'll see a box towards the bottom that shows where they need to sign, print their name, and date. You'll also have to hit all the major points, talking points for the devilWASTE program, which are all listed on your consent sheet. And then give them the scripted consent process, which goes something like this. So we have another exciting opportunity for you as part of the study, and our team is conducting an additional research study for only those residing in Palo Verde West, Casa de Oro, Taylor Place Tower 1, and it's called devilWASTE. The goal of the study is to learn about the human microbiome. And if you've never heard about the microbiome, it's basically a fancy word for the flora and fauna, little bacteria that live in your skin, in your mouth, your nose, and for our study, specifically the ones in your intestines. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but these microbes are really fascinating, and they haven't really been studied in a college population before. So you're going to help put ASU on the map by helping us study college student microbiomes. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to have you collect a few samples of your poop. So it's pretty awesome because you're going to do this regardless, but this. So after you've given them a basic description of the procedures of the study, you're also going to want to demo the kit and basically walk them through how they would go about collecting their samples. What's really important is that you emphasize how clean, sterile, safe, and easy it is to collect these things, that they don't have to hold onto their sample, that we will come pretty much immediately to grab it from them, and that they can be really discreet about it. One of the problems that we've run into is that some students feel embarrassed or awkward about obviously carrying around their own stool samples, but just let them know that it's super confidential, it's very easy for them to complete, it's super sterile, and we're more than happy to answer any questions or make any to adapt to any circumstances to make it easier for them to donate to us. Next, you're going to want to let them know about the risks and the benefits of participation. And basically, you just need to let them know that, of course, there is a risk of bacterial contamination, though it's very minimal considering the fact that we provide them with gloves, with sterile equipment, and with all the tools to collect their sample easily, cleanly, and pass it off without any problems. You'll then let them know about the costs and payments, and basically just let them know about the rewards that they'll receive. If we are consenting somebody in January, it's likely that we'll only be giving them a t-shirt for their sample, as they'll probably only be donating one sample to us in April. But depending on whether we are able to finagle a second sample, they may also get a cash reward. You'll be informed of this by Dr. Wissner and by your core team members closer to the collection dates. And finally, you have to get their consent, make sure that they are fully informed of the entire study, and when they are, if they have given their consent, have them sign in the box below, print their name and date, and then you'll have to walk through the next stage of paperwork. Once you've completed the consenting process for devilWASTE, it's important that you complete the study intake form. First and foremost, make sure that you put down their devilWASTE ID as well as their devilSpark ID. Both will be used to identify them later in the study and in order to give them their rewards. Take their name, their phone number, their email, and make sure to get their preferred contact method, and make sure to ask if they'd like to be contacted in order to receive their print of their microbiome. This is one of the incentives that we're offering, because usually a printout of one's microbiome can cost up to hundreds of dollars, and so we provided them for free for their participation. Once you've completed the devilWASTE intake form, make sure to initial at the very top right hand corner, and then move on to the screening form. The waste ID will be given to you by Dr. Wissner at the devilWASTE table. She has a small Ziploc baggie in which she keeps the devilWASTE IDs. Make sure that once you have the participant Spark ID, that you also sync up their waste ID. Up to this point, all of the paperwork that you've completed is for new participants only. The devilWASTE screening form is for new participants and returning participants. And what's most important is that we are informed of any medications that the participant has been taking since either they've returned or if they're a new participant. First, you have to make sure that your participant is an English-speaking male or female, which one can assume that they are if you've gone through the consenting process. You have to also make sure that they are enrolled in the devilSpark study. Again, it is crucial that they are part of the devilSpark study in order to be part of devilWASTE. Next, you have to check for any history of eating disorders, of malabsorption diseases, HIV, AIDS, high blood pressure, diabetes, and most importantly of taking any prebiotics, antibiotics, probiotics, or other antifungal treatments, or any other prescription medications. This is a very delicate area to ask about one's medical history, so generally we don't actually ask them specifically, for example, if they have been diagnosed with HIV. Instead, we'll show them this form, kind of gesture at it with a pen, and ask, do you recognize any of these, or do you have a history of any of these disorders or diseases, and have you taken any medications in the last month or more? Again, the most crucial question that we're looking for here is if they've taken any antibiotics, prebiotics, probiotics, or antifungal medications. If they have, enter it in the comments box below. If not, you can enter in a comment something like not applicable or no drugs. Based on those criteria, you will then determine whether they're eligible or ineligible. As with all of your paperwork, make sure that you enter the participant's devilSpark ID, the date, and your initials. This is crucial because if there's any questions or problems with the forms in the future, we can find the study subject, or rather, excuse me, the researcher, and find out what happened. The last piece of paperwork you're going to complete is the participant data collection sheet. These are divided up by male and female gender, or sex rather. As with all your paperwork, make sure they enter their devilWASTE ID at the top, the date, and your initials. For females, you're going to ask the same first two questions as with the males, which is, have you been consuming or taking prebiotics, probiotics, antibiotics, and or antifungals during the last 2 to 3 months? Mark whether they have or not, and if they have, make sure they specify the medication, the treatment duration, and when they began taking the product. For females, also have them circle the first date of their last menstrual period on the calendar. They don't need to mark out every single date of every period they've had, just the first date of their most recent. If they are on a form of birth control that limits or otherwise gets rid of their period, make sure to make a note of that in the comment section or just below the calendar.